So Nordic Viola had its origins really in a trip I made out to Greenland in summer 2015. I think we were there for about 10 days, so it wasn't really long enough to get to know that much about the country, and my curiosity had definitely been sparked. So I wanted to go back there and spend a bit more time there and also explore the North Atlantic more generally, actually. And I would say the final impetus was Radio 3's Northern Lights series, in which they explored music from north of 60 degrees latitude. And actually I was absolutely stunned by the amount of music that's come out of that area that we've never heard. I mean, the Faroe Islands in particular, I knew quite a bit about them through Davor, our principal trombone. And I knew there was a fantastic musician out there, Christian Black, who really is, well, pretty much a guru for all musicians out in the Faroes. I wasn't expecting there to be so much music education actually as well, and so many people engaged in music at such a high standard. And that was true of everywhere I went. I coached in music schools and I was always really warmly received. I met some really super talented musicians there. And I think one of the things that I really got out of the project was meeting composers. They're always such kind of engaged people. They're interested in their surroundings. They have a lot to tell you about their countries and about their cultures. They think in interesting ways and really kind of spark my own creativity a bit actually as well. So, yeah. For me, I think one of the things, and it's come out in the concert that we're doing with Nordic Viola, is that seasons play a really big role. And not always in the way you expect. I mean, there are pieces about the bleakness of winter, but also the joyousness of winter too. I'm thinking particularly of one of the pieces I commissioned by Greenlandic composer Ingrid Gerstrom. And sure, there's times in the piece that the music's quite stern, but there's also a lot of playfulness in it. And I think she wrote about evoking the spirits in Greenland and that kind of playful, joyful side of winter in the far north. I was actually with Nordic Viola in the Sound Festival in Aberdeen in October, and there was a lot of debate, and one of the words that came out quite often was melancholy, which I guess is something, well, probably all of us in Scotland have experienced in winter as well, actually. But one of the Icelandic composers who was there was kind of saying, let's not beat ourselves up about it. Let's just embrace it. So we feel, a bit down because it's winter. Let's express that feeling, and it's not a bad thing. It's a characteristic of that music, and it can have a warmth to it as well, I think. And yes, like you say, and then the summer's completely different. You've got anything up to 24 hours of daylight depending on where you are, and people want to go out and play in that. They want to enjoy that. And a couple of the Shetland tunes that we're playing actually are pieces written for the summer. One of them is about the soft, clear light of summer, and it is about being outdoors and playing and enjoying that time. So yeah, you get the extremes, that's for sure. So the first one was actually, the first commission that I made was Lily Harris, who was actually on the RSNO Composers Hub. And I kind of floated the idea to her that she might fancy a trip out to Shetland, and she bit. So I asked her if she fancied commissioning me a piece as well, and I decided it'd be nice to give her a Shetland theme, and picked a poem by Jen Hadfield called Blashiwado, which is a really evocative poem about a Shetland winter storm skirling around. And Lily wrote me this fantastic and challenging solo piece that absolutely depicts Jen's poem. It starts with quite a menacing feel. It's a very still opening, and then gradually builds into a full-scale storm that really takes you there, actually. It's, to say that Lily at that point had not visited Shetland, it is exactly how you feel in the middle of a Shetland storm. And then the second piece I commissioned, I think I commissioned it whilst I was out there, and that was from Ingrid Gerstrom, who's coming to Glasgow to hear her piece performed. And I actually asked her to write a piece to go with a Faroese piece we already had, so with the same instrumentation. which is flute, viola, and bassoon, and asked her to write a piece to complement the Faroese piece, which is about spring, so either summer or winter. And I'm kind of secretly surprised and happy that she decided that she would choose winter, because I was there at that time as well. So it was nice to have somebody from Greenland express winter as they saw it, and I think it's a really engaging, lively, a beautiful piece, actually. Yeah, there are a lot of composers that you may not have heard of in the programme. To be fair, I hadn't heard of them either before I set off travelling. In fact, that was a real impetus for me to go out and find these composers. There's a massive variety of music in the programme. There's everything from Shetland traditional music and some Icelandic traditional tunes, through to the commissions that I've written, which are probably the nearest to a straight classical piece, if you like, through to Lily's piece, which is quite contemporary in style. And I've also included readings in the concert, which I hope really illustrate the mood of the pieces. Many of those readings are from my own experience, or from authors that I think perfectly capture that experience. So they're quite personal things, and I think really help to illustrate what the music's about.